Hello, hello. So I've come back today to do part 2 of our double file folder. Thank you so much for the amazing comments you left for part 1. So what we're going to do today is we're going to decorate probably both of the back and the front and the inside main covers. We'll probably decorate these. We'll see how we go. Maybe today, maybe not today. What I am going to have to do is pause the video while I do the sewing. I have bought a new tripod that will be set up at my sewing machine. The only thing with that is I have to use my phone with it, so I've got to figure out how to put 2 videos together. Anyway, enough of boring you. There's lots of little flies around because the weather here is absolutely glorious today, but you still notice I have to have lights on because the room that I work in is not very bright. So let's get on. As you will remember, I'm using 2 kits from Mrs. Cog. We're using the Sound of Music and the piano. So what I've done in preparation, and the only thing I've done, is I've cut out a few images and just inked them. There's still lots of things that I will need to do. So the first thing I need to do is decide which image I'm going to have on the front and the back cover. And what I'll do is I'll prep everything, then I'll go away and sew everything, and then we'll come back and put it all together. So I've printed a few large ones and a few small ones. There are another couple that I've cut out, but obviously the larger images, I could have enlarged other images, but I've picked these 3 to print to kind of decide which ones to put on the front. Now they're all absolutely beautiful and stunning, and it is very difficult. As I said, I've printed this on Epson photo quality paper. So it is a photo paper, it has a photo finish, but it is quite thin, which is great if you're using it on something thinner like this. However, this will become much thicker, and I may varnish, I'm not sure yet, it depends on what we kind of do on the front. So I love this image, and I love this image, and I love this image. So for our front cover, we've got the choice of the 3, and it's a kind of difficult one. Now, because it is the front cover, I'm kind of leaning towards colour. However, because we're also going to have an image on the back, these 2 work. What have I got under there? Oh, kittens. I'm looking for a kitten at the minute. I want a kitten. These 2 work really well together. However, this one has a tiny amount of red in it, so that kind of works with that. Oh, I don't know. It's a really difficult call because they would both kind of options, although I love this one. I would kind of go with that too. They would both give the folder a very, very different look and feel. I wish I could do a bit of a vote if we had time. Oh, it's so difficult. I'm sure some of you, whichever decision I make, will say I should have. Okay, right. I'm going to go for this one because we're going to mount it. This one might be a little bit too big, although that would then really kind of sturdy up the cover, wouldn't it? No, we're gonna go this on the front, and we're gonna go this on the back. Yeah, I'm gonna go this. Everything's going to be very cream, so it's really nice having that red, don't you think? So I get my t-shirt out from up my sleeve. Right, we're going to go for this. Now, obviously, it's very music related, so Obvious choice is we're going to use some music, sheet music, to kind of mount this image on first. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of prepare this cover image. And I think I've said before, it doesn't really matter if it's going to be, we want a piece of, I like it where there's a lot of music notes and it's quite heavy on the notes. And I also really like having the treble clef at the side, so that one would work. I'm going to go for this page. Well, that one's quite good too, isn't it? Although it doesn't really sit on there quite as nicely. Right, so go for this one. I'm sure we're going to use that many more times over the course of this. Okay, so I'm going to tear about here. I'm sure a lot of you watch Izzy B. She has the most awesome ruler. I would love one. I have no idea what it's called. I'm pretty sure she's mentioned it in one of her videos, maybe even two. And you know when you think, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to remember that. Never do. Yep, that's good. Right, so again, I'm really sorry. It's inking time. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I've cracked open my new glue for this, so I don't have to kind of like that, trying to get it out. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac because I'm going to pop this through my sewing machine. And what I love about Fabri-Tac is it dries really quickly and it doesn't stay really sticky and mess up your sewing machine. Maybe it will over time, but at the moment it's my sewing machine's doing pretty well sewing this. And like I said, with I'm going to get everything prepared and sew at the last minute. So, oh, likey that, very nice. So, I dyed some muslin. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to use cheesecloth, although this is a bit creased now because it's been screwed up in my trolley. I think I'm going to use this. So let's have a look. I really like the kind of rough edge that you get with muslin and cheesecloth, because you can really shabby it up. This could probably have done with being a little bit darker, but obviously I will use it for several projects, so I'm just going to cut this to size. I'm not going to, so yep, happy with that. I think I'm going to ink it a little bit just to give it a little bit of a darker look. Yeah, when I started this I thought it's not going to take too long, and when I thought today how much I'd probably actually get done, it's probably going to be maybe 5 videos for this little Let's Create project. So I hope you stick around till the end. Some of you might just watch the last one to see what it looks like finished, which I don't necessarily blame you. So nearly all the way around. Okay. So this will need sewing, and what I will do is I will sew around the image itself, and I will of course show you that. So that's I think that's going to look pretty good. That's going to be our cover. Yeah, happy with that? I think I am. So now we're going to have a look at the back. So this was the image I was thinking of for the back. What I'm not 100% sure of is whether it should go in the middle. Yeah, I think it probably should, but I'm now starting to think that might be a little bit small. Right, I'm going to leave the back for now. If I'm not 100% sure, I'm not going to do it. I'm happy with that there. So we have the front kind of sorted. The other thing I was going to say is when you buy a kit from Mrs. Cog, she uses this amazing kind of typewriter typeface, and I really like to use the words, which I would like to do on this. So what I might do is this may well go once we've sewn. I might put this on, although this one's a little bit on the large side. I actually prefer this one, I think. So maybe we're going to do something with this once we've got the cover done. That's still quite large, isn't it? Maybe the smaller one. Yeah, we've got a bit of time to think about that. So what we're going to move on to now is these two, the inside pockets. There is a small amount of ink there, so I'm definitely going to pop something down the spine at some point. What we need to do is make a couple of pockets. This is the kind of coordinating cardstock, and this card was from a pack called The Promise. So we need to decide whether we're putting full pockets in or maybe tuck spots. I think I'm going to go for tuck spots on this, but what I do want to do is use an image on each one. So I want to make sure I'm going to leave the image, the pocket big enough. Right, okay. So in true style, I'm going to turn this over so I'm going to put a couple of little marks where I want to. I probably want the pocket to come to about there. Okay, so I've got two little marks where I want my pockets to go. Welcome back to the pants cutting tool. So I'm going to cut there, and I'm going to cut there. And I'm going to corner punch here. So that's going to make our two inside pockets. Now, one thing that I will do is show you how I sew around the corner, because I mean, my machine is a pretty fancy machine. You know, it was, I wanted a machine that does lots of stitches, and I use zigzag and straight stitch. Even though I have this machine that does all sorts of things, I still don't know how to use it. I know how to do those two stitches. Apparently it programs, you can program it to do things repeatedly. Yeah, I don't know how to do any of that, and never seem to have the time to look through the manual, which I really should do. But apparently I have a foot in there that will kind of make it a lot easier to move around fabric and paper, as I tend to be sewing paper most of the time. I just haven't really figured it all out. So I will show you how I sew the corners. There is probably a much better way and a much more fluid way. However, my old machine that I had to use this particular method to do my corners because I didn't have fancy feet, or well, I still don't have fancy feet, but I didn't have a way of, I think it might be called, is it an embroidery foot that makes it more fluid? I'm not sure. until I started kind of sewing paper. I didn't really do anything except maybe the odd pair of curtains and a tablecloth. That was about it. I used to do lots of embroidery and cross stitch and, you know, that kind of thing when I was a bit younger, quite a lot younger, but I haven't done that for a long time. Although that's something else I keep saying I would love to have another go at, and there's just never enough hours in the day. I'm sorry, I'm just babbling on while I'm inking. So these are our pockets. And they will go somewhere like this, but of course we're going to sew those, and we're going to add some kind of image. Ooh, no. And since we didn't use this on our cover, maybe these, I have to have things reasonably matching, so if I have one shape pocket on one side, I have to have the same shape pocket on the other, and that's not always easy to do. These are beautiful images, aren't they? And they've both got little girls in, so they would look really cute. And that's probably a very good size. Maybe a little bit big. I love the fact that there are the kind of, I think they're the concave mirrors in both of those pictures. All we have size. Right, what I'm going to do is make them the same size, which unfortunately means cutting off some of that mirror. There we go. So, no, here's the dark one. Not quite been myself, so I do apologise if I sound a bit ugh. It's not lack of enthusiasm at all. Okay, so that's one. Now I'm not sure I'm going to mount these or whether I am going to leave them, because again what I would like to do is I would like to sew around the edge of the pocket, and I would also like to sew the image onto the pocket. I think that's what I'm going to do. So do we put some cheesecloth under this or not? Cheesecloth would certainly give it a little bit more texture, and I do want this to be quite shabby. So yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
So trim. And once this is all stuck down, I'll kind of tatty it up a bit. That's one. Don't always rush quite as much. So that will be two. So they're the second things ready to sew. So this is a little bit quicker than I was expecting. So what I want to do is I'm going to do something similar along here, but what I want to do is pop on some trim first. So I'm trying to do all the things that I did pull out a few bits to try, and now I love this, and because we've got that red on the front, but I don't think I have enough of this left. No, an inch. I'm an inch short. Okay, not that one. That one I don't have enough of. This one I do have enough of, but I'm not sure that I want the green. No. No, this one I think might be too wide if I am going to add an image. I've kind of got these two images that I've decided I'd like along the pockets. I'm not going to have any, I'm not going to have an image on that pocket, I don't think. So I think it's going to be this. Hi, camera cut out. I actually got into a right panic because I thought I'd forgot to press record. Big relief. Apparently this camera only records for 30 minutes at a time, which is a bit of a well, I'm really sorry that this is taking longer than I thought. However, I have now sewn the pockets, and what I did decide to do was I did a straight stitch around the edge of the pocket, and I did have plenty of room, so I've actually sewn the image using a zigzag stitch onto the pocket, which is not something I was going to do, but these are all now ready to glue into place. So let's do that, and I will very much try to speed it up a bit and not be so dithery, but you know, that's just how I craft. I've left the cottons because I love them. I'm not going to cut them off. It's how I like it. So. Okay. So we have our two pockets. I'm happy with those. I did trim the edges off the trim, which I did get down. I'm not exactly sure how much I lost of that video. I haven't had a chance to have a good look. So these are nicely glued in place. So now we're going to pop on our cover. Obviously this is not going to be completely finished. I've got lots of other things that I want to do. My son has got his first interview today. He's currently doing his exams and he's looking for a little part-time job. So he's got an interview, and as soon as he gets in from school, I've got to shoot off and take him to that. You know, because it's going to be a bit of a mum job too, isn't it? Taxi. If he gets the job, I'm going to be the one. Oh, that's the front door. My other half is writing them off at the pass, telling them to be quiet for a few minutes. So I'm just so sorry this has taken so much longer than I had planned. So obviously this is the time you need to be sure you've got it where you want it, because like I said, Fabri-Tac dries very quickly. I think I might have time to do one last little thing. So our cover is not completely finished. It's definitely not exactly done. But what I do have, and I'm kind of thinking of putting this on now, is I've got some seam binding. I'm just checking I'm recording. Yeah. I've got some seam binding that I'm going to use as the closure for this. All I've done is gone across it with distress ink, wet it, and then let it dry. and what we're going to do is we're going to glue it on our spine about in the middle, about in the middle, or as close to the centre as we possibly can. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to find some kind of embellishment to go over this, something that's small enough. So we've got our Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to plonk this on. Now it doesn't matter if the glue comes through a little bit, because we are going to, like I said, find some kind of embellishment to go on there. Got glue all over my fingers. I never get in, well I do get in a mess, but never quite as much as when I'm filming. Okay, so that is going to dry nicely on there. Now what I was thinking is, when I put the back image on, I may well glue it over the top of this closure. I don't want it over the front, but I might glue it, and I actually quite like the effect of the seam binding over the closure, over the front image. Blah blah blah. I'm so sorry. All of this stuff goes through my head, and it never sounds quite as good when it comes out of my mouth. Anyway, that's that. Now, what I have is this that I would really like to use on the front, as well as having, because it will balance the writing that we are going to have down here. Unfortunately, I just do not have the time to do this right now, but what I can do is see if we've got something that will fit on that spine. This little box of goodies. That's quite pretty, isn't it? That's just, oh, awesome. Now it might have to be something as small as that, because we only have a very little spine. I also have that little diamante heart. No, that's not the right colour. What's under here? Oh, that one might be nicer. I'm not sure about the heart now. Like that. Like that. So, do I need to ink it? Yep. Need to ink this bit. It's a little bit too white or cream, a little bit too bright. So I'm going to turn it over, pop a little bit of Fabri-Tac on each of the petals. Oh my days, goes everywhere. I spend quite a lot of time picking glue off. I don't know about you guys. Right, I like that. I may well still put something else on, but I definitely want this on the front. I'm not really big on frills usually, but this kit, or these two kits, are just stunning. I just think it will work. So that will be our cover, that will be our spine. Obviously we've got a little bit to finish off, and we have our 2 inside pockets. Now I was thinking about this bit, and what I might do with that is actually put some muslin down here. I'm not 100% sure. I definitely want to embellish a little bit more around here, do some buttons maybe. We've got this gorgeous pink trim that would work with the little girl in the pink dress, but I don't have anything that would work with the blue. Although they don't have to be identical, I get that. I like to balance. So that's stage 2 of our file folder complete. I'm sorry if it took a lot longer than it should have done, but thank you so much for watching. This is how I work. So I will see you for part 3 very soon. Bye.